Hi, this is Polly with Get Busy Thriving, and I'm so glad you've taken this opportunity to watch this video and allow me to share with you the technique that's helped me and thousands of people stop binge eating forever and eat like normal people, right? I'm finally able to say that I eat like a normal person. I don't have restrictions in my life. I don't have imbalances. I'm not constantly struggling with my weight or body image. And it's such a blessing. And I want to share this technique with you and give you a couple of other extra, bonus information, bonus gifts to offer to you something that I think, in addition to the technique, can help you understand what you're doing and how to stop this forever. So the first thing I want to teach you, if you don't already know this already, and that is, this comes from the book, The Power of Habit, one of my favorite books on habit. And that is that habits are three things. It's a trigger, it's a routine, and a reward. So remember that, right? So what are you being triggered by that's causing you to binge eat? Your routine is you binge eat, and that can look different. That can be, you're eating and you just keep eating, keep eating, keep eating, or you're triggered by something maybe at work or something that happens in your life, or you think about the past or the future and you just get charged by something. You get an emotional response to something and you go into your routine, which is overeating by running into the kitchen or going to the grocery store and buying a whole bunch of food, whatever it is. And then the reward, and that's what I really want to focus on here, is to remind you that what you may not realize is you're being triggered, and often we know like what starts it and what have you, and then what we do, we know, we're overeating, and then we don't look at the reward, because the reward is what we're after. Why we, like mice in a cage, why we keep doing this hamster loop, if you will, of this pattern, is because we're after the reward. The body is looking for, the nervous system wants that reward. The mind has linked up. When this happens, I do this and I get this payoff, right? Like a mouse. We've trained ourselves. And I say that because you may not even remember, depending on how long you've been doing this, you may not even remember that you created this. And the power is in your hands because you did create it. I created it in my life, and I was able to uncreate it. So knowing what your trigger, your routine, and your reward are, mostly your reward, because if you can replace that routine with something that when you're triggered, you have a new routine and you get the reward, you can actually stop the binge eating. So knowing what your payoff is, so if it's anxiousness or stress, or you're just uncomfortable about having to have conversations with people and you sort of ditch and you go and eat a bunch of food, or you're procrastinating or whatever it is. So whatever causes it, whatever the trigger is, knowing what the payoff is like, oh, I feel better, I feel relief, I feel at ease, or things don't feel so insurmountable. You sort of like depressurize things. So knowing what that reward is and finding a healthy way to replace that routine with alternatives that give you that reward, you can replace that habit, that disempowered habit, with something that empowers you, a healthy new habit. So that's the first thing, just to understand. And all this is going on in the brain. I'm not going to share too much in this video, and I share a lot on my website and social media. If you want to continue to follow, I'd be happy to have you as a follower and just learn more about this. But the technique that you're here to understand, and I want to share with you, and this I learned largely from my friend Katherine Hansen, who wrote the book Brain Over Binge, which is a really great book. I don't know if it's the bestseller on binge eating, but by far, as a life coach, it's the book that I recommend most to my clients most often, so that they can understand what's going on in their brain. And it talks a lot about neuroassociations and things that happen in our brain. And the technique that she shares, and I want to share with you, that's helped me and thousands of others, I'm going to call it sit with it. Some people call it surf your emotions, whatever you want to call it. So just remember, sit with it. So the next time you're having that urge, right? So just know that you are the person, you are the consciousness that is hearing those panicky thoughts, those I've got to go eat, I'm so this, or, this is freaking me out, or whatever it's saying to you. You've got to do something, or you're not good enough, you're not worthy, whatever. So all of that is going on, is this mental junk that your brain, your subconscious brain, is using as a signal, because you've got this trigger, you've triggered the pattern. So all these things start to happen. They start to flood you both with chemicals and with thoughts, and it starts to create this emotional response in your body, right? You start thinking those thoughts. If you think that they're you, which they're not, your body starts to have an emotional response. So sit with it is when you start to notice yourself get triggered. It's literally sitting with that discomfort, sitting with those, it can be, I know for me, when I was like wound up in the midst of a really strong binge urge, it was like a freight train. It was like I don't know how I'm going to stop this. But if you can sit with it and realize there's thousands of us out here who have done this, and you can too. It feels uncomfortable at the time, so sitting with those uncomfortable sensations, the chemicals that are flowing through your body, thoughts that are floating through your mind, just sit with it, and it will pass. It may take a couple of seconds, a couple of minutes, maybe a little bit longer. But the first time you do it, it'll likely be the hardest because your brain's in that pattern, and it just is running that pattern and is trying to get that reward. So sit with it and allow it to just be. Notice the thoughts. It's great if you can observe them and remember them, because then you can use them and go, oh, when you can hear them earlier. But sitting with it and kind of surfing those emotions is what's important. And the more often you just sit with them and you don't do that routine, you don't act on it, you don't go get food, you don't jump in the car and go eat something, the brain goes, oh, something's different. Something's different, right? And it starts to go, oh, that's not, like, you start to break up the patterns in the brain that it had as linked up in signals, and it starts to look for new answers, right? So sitting with it allows you to get your power back, and in those times and find new ways to get that reward. And then you're more empowered to handle whatever it is that has you triggered, the situation with your boss, the situation with your family, the thing that you're worried about, the thing that you're thinking about in the past or the future, whatever it is. Then you can begin to handle it as your, empowered self, somebody that is clear of mind and doesn't have all this chatter going on, or these emotions that are just, you just want to do one thing. So sit with it. That's the technique. It's powerful, simple, but powerful. It's helped thousands of people. And again, you want to sit with it, and the first time is probably going to be the most challenging, and then it'll get easier and easier. And there may be different times, different things will trigger you, and some will be stronger than others. But the more often you can break that pattern and recreate a new association, say, no, I'm not acting upon this, the easier it gets. Over time, it will get easier and easier. I promise. I promise. So, and know that if there's a time when you do get triggered and you just can't sit with it, you just give into it, whether you almost like act on, you're like, wow, I didn't even realize it. All of a sudden I'm in the kitchen eating something. It's okay. Let it go quickly. That is really important, really, really important, because if you reward the brain and say, you throw a lot of energy to it, even negative energy, it will continue to link that up. So just go, okay, well, I'm trying this. This is a new thing for me, a new technique. I didn't do so good then, but I'm back on track and I'm doing it again. I'm going to sit with it next time and just keep doing that. And the last thing I want to share with you, and this is a gift that I want to give to you and that I tell my clients, is what else helped me, both when I quit smoking. I was this pack-a-day smoker, not at the same time, but I started as a pack-a-day smoker. And how I stopped instantly was I created a new possibility, a new vision for myself of what my life would be like without smoking all the time. And at the time I wanted to be a mom and I wanted to have kids. And I said, gosh, I really don't want to be smoking around my kids. It just didn't seem like who I wanted to be. And so I quit. I quit so that I wouldn't grow up and be a woman who smoked around her kids. And with binge eating, what happened for me was all this binge eating was going on in secrecy. It was like this shroud that I had around me that kept me from connecting with people. It was, just this wall of shame, you might call it, that I couldn't connect with people from a place of, integrity or vulnerability or authenticity, because it was like I was always lying about something. I was lying about, oh, I have to go here, or I can't meet you for that, or, hiding out and eating late at night, after everyone else had gone to bed. So I realized, I have to have a new life and I want to connect with people. My highest need is love and connection, and yours may be too. And if it is, this wall of shame that you're living behind, breaking through that, and then you can have that connection with people. That was so valuable to me when I started to believe in that possibility and believe in connecting with people and not being afraid that they might find something out or they might catch me or anything like that. It was so horrible to live within that for so long. And then once I broke free and I used these techniques, I could connect with people, and there was no fear or shame that somebody would find something out about me. I could just be with people. So I hope that has helped. So I offered you the technique and gave you a couple of other extra pieces of information that I hope is helpful. And the last thing I want to share with you is this. I'm a life coach and I help people all around the world with binge eating. I've helped people from every country, all time zones. I help people by Skype, by telephone call, and I'd be honored to help you too. So if binge eating is something that you'd like some support and some accountability, I'm here. I've been through this. I've been through the tunnel, you might say. I had it for 20 years. I was resigned. How could I ever stop this? But I did it. And I would be honored to be your coach if that's something that you're interested in, finding out more about, doing a 30-minute complimentary session. I'd be happy to offer that to you. So fill out the form below and allow us to take some more time together. And if nothing else, connect with me on socially, on Facebook and Instagram, but please take this opportunity to help yourself. A 30-minute complimentary session of coaching might just be what you need to make that change, to push yourself into the new realm. So I'd love to talk with you.